Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is sent in from a man who has had a successful marriage with his wife and they live in Chaing Mai. So he shares a story about how he met his wife, and then he goes on to give some tips and advice if you're thinking about marrying a Thai woman. So let's jump straight into this. Hi, I have been following your channel for a while now, and it has been quite the enjoyment for me, as well as making me feel sorry for some of the poor souls in the stories. I am currently enjoying retired life in Chaing Mai with my Thai wife that I have fortunately had a successful marriage with. As things went pretty good for me with a Thai woman, I thought I would throw together a little submission myself. I decided to put my story together, as I have noticed in the comments on the videos that a lot of guys like to bash Thai women and talk negative about them all as if they are all the same. I would like to share my opinion in their defense and state some of the qualities in my wife and relationship, along with some tips that has led us to a successful marriage. I will first tell the story of how I met my wife and then dive into some of the tips and advice I have gathered over the years. Flew to Bangkok for a week-long break and hooked up with pretty much every woman I could. The first thing I noticed about these women is that they are very accommodating and friendly, showing so much affection and love, even if it was their job. I remember thinking that I have never felt like that before with anyone I had ever met. I left Thailand after a week thinking it was the best place I had ever been, and I was determined to go back someday. However, life had different plans for me, and I ended up marrying a woman in Texas, landing a decent job, having 2 kids, the usual life. Me and my then wife were together for about 20 years until we finally had enough of each other. She couldn't stand me and I couldn't stand her. It came to a point where we couldn't be in the same room together. So with that feeling, we decided to get a divorce and go our separate ways. I can remember feeling quite depressed because I was not getting any younger, and now I was single again with not much going on in my life. After all them years, the thought of Thailand never left my mind. I would find myself occasionally thinking about Bangkok. A couple of years after my divorce, I thought I needed a vacation. So in 2004, I decided to go on a solo trip back to Thailand. I settled on Chaing Mai because it looked like a place to relax, explore and unwind, unlike the hustle and bustle of Bangkok. I need to say that I did not travel to Thailand in the hopes of finding a wife. I hadn't long been divorced, and remarrying never even crossed my mind. Anyway, I got friendly with a tuk-tuk guy that would hang outside of the hotel. And one day, he said he would take me around the temples. The only condition was that he had to take me to a few shops, even though I told him I was not interested in buying any souvenirs, suits, or anything else that he took me to. He said that it's fine, he still would get commission for bringing me there. After the temples, we ended up at a tailor shop where the sales lady was trying to sell me a full suit. After politely declining a few times, she eventually gave up. Somehow, we struck up a conversation about where I am from, what I do for a living, and why I am in Thailand. I kept the divorce part to myself and said that I am just here on a vacation from work. I asked her about her work and life. She said that she wanted to work in Chaing Mai while saving up money to go back home to her village and have her own farm. I don't know why, but there was just something about the way this woman looked, spoke, and conducted herself that just made me feel different. I took the chance and asked if I could come back again the next day to see her and maybe take her out after work. She agreed. Of course, this woman went on to become my wife, and the memory of our first meeting will remain in my heart forever. Now, by no means do I recommend anyone to go to Thailand and get loved up as quick as I did, especially with how the country is now. Remember, back then, women, and men for that matter, were a lot more respectable, trustworthy, and honest. The next 5 days after I met her, she was working every day, and I would be leaving at the end of the week for Bangkok to head home. So I would go and see her every morning at her shop for a couple of hours. Once I got back to Bangkok, I called her and we were talking about when I would come back to see her. It seemed we both liked each other and wanted this to develop into something. She decided early on that I was a good guy. Back in the States, and all I could think about was her. I'm sure we have all been there at some point in our life where we meet a girl and can't get her out of our mind. It was just like that. I was calling her weekly and would send emails every day to her. Internet shops were a thing back then. There was one close to her shop that would print out my emails and take them directly to her. Thinking back, communication with people back then was not the easiest of things. Thank God that the internet is what it is now. Unfortunately, that is not a good thing for people looking for love in Thailand. I also do not recommend guys to do what I did next either. It was only about a month after I returned home that I asked her if she would like to join me in the States on a K1 visa and the chance to marry me. She said yes without hesitation, and off she went to the embassy in Bangkok to do her interview. Luckily, getting a visa back then was a lot easier than it is now, I've been told. We did not need much proof, just a couple of emails and basic questions about each other. Once her visa was accepted, she flew herself from Bangkok to the States, leaving her 2 kids with her mother for the time being. It was crazy what we did, and if I had met her now, I would probably have taken things a lot more slower. I mean, I had never even kissed her, held her hand, touched her, or met any of her family. And here she was, at my home, planning to get married. Against all odds, with how much things were rushed, I got lucky. She was determined to make this marriage work and have a good life together. Even to this day, her motivation to live a good life with me is still there. Me, on the other hand, I had already had one failed marriage that took away 20 years of my life. I did not want another one, so I was very determined too to make it work. Of course, we had issues in the first couple of years, but I think that was down to me being a little too hard on her, and her not adapting to life here that quick. I had to take a step back and put myself in her shoes. Everything would have been totally new for her. She managed to find new friends, mainly other immigrants from the Philippines, Korea, and Thailand. The Thai women she met did not seem like good people. They were either the greedy gold digger types or just extremely lazy. She managed to get jobs in various departments, but nothing really stuck. She either did not like the way she was treated or flat out hated the job. In 2010, I was able to finally retire and we had a talk about our future. I had really had enough of living in the States at that point, and as I'd always loved Thailand, I suggested that we move back to Chaing Mai. Although she was not exactly thrilled about moving back, she soon warmed to the idea. I hope by now that I have not lost your interest. I just wanted to share the background of how we met, how fast things moved, and how we live today. Now I will go through the main part of my story and describe some of the qualities that my Thai wife brought to the table, which I think has made our marriage be as successful as it has been. I would also like to share my personal tips to the people that are thinking about marrying a Thai woman. Remember, These are my personal tips that I would follow if I was in the shoes of someone looking for a Thai wife, so take them as you please. Let's start with the age. A lot of men marry Thai girls that are way too young. Sorry to say, but that is the reality. It's more acceptable, so to speak, to see an older man with a younger woman in Thailand than it is in the West. But remember, if you do get married, there is a big chance that the plan for you both will be to move to your country in the future. Granted, some work, but let's face it, the majority of a huge age difference relationship rarely work out. A lot of young Thai women will get in a relationship with an older man for one reason. We all know what that reason is, and it is not love. When I met my wife, she was already a middle-aged woman, so already had plenty of life experience, and pretty much knew who she was. She had a previous Thai husband who did the typical thing and left her and her 2 kids fend for themselves. Younger women are still unsure what to do with their life. They still have dreams and ambitions, but for women a little older, they know that the clock is ticking. I believe at the age of 35 onwards, a woman already knows who they are by then. They now have realistic dreams, they know that men aren't throwing themselves at them anymore, and they know it's time to settle down. I am not saying my wife settled down with me because time was running out for her, but I think she took the chance when a good man came around and gave her the chance of marriage and a new life. With all that being said, age should not be a deal breaker if it is perfectly legal, but it's certainly something worth considering. Next, let's talk about where they are from. Believe it or not, but I genuinely think that this plays a big role in a relationship with a Thai woman. Have you noticed that the majority of the horror relationship stories are about women that are from Pattaya, Bangkok, and certain areas of Isan? Of course, not everyone is the same in them areas, and it wouldn't be fair to make a broad generalization. But if you are wanting a traditional Thai wife, it's probably best to look elsewhere. The girls in Bangkok and Pattaya are normally after the materialistic life. They are chasing the money, and that's not a problem. But would you really want to marry a woman like that? The girls in Isan seem to be natural-born gold diggers, as they normally come from nothing. That's why many of them become bar girls. The families of these Isan girls normally put pressure on them to go out to the big cities, make money, and send it back home. If you talk to bar girls in Bangkok and Pattaya, it's rare that you will find one that does not come from Isan. Thailand is great and is known to have great women, but the world is changing fast. Maybe I am being biased, but I find the most traditional Thai women come from the north, and would advise people to travel there. Again, location is not a deal breaker, but again, it's something to consider. Now, their occupation. I think you know where I'm going when I say what they do for a living. It's no mystery that a lot of men come to Thailand and end up falling for a bar girl or a girl that works in the nightlife area. I get it. When you first come to Thailand and head to Bangkok or Pattaya and go out into the night, it is easy to get caught up with a girl you meet in a bar. Especially if you are single and quite the lonely man, these girls have a way to make you feel special. Leave your heart at the airport is what a lot of people say, but it's easier said than done. Let's be honest, 9 out of 10 times, these types of relationships do not work, and those that did work, they met years ago when the world was a different place. If you are going to get in a relationship and even consider marrying a bar girl, you need to be very careful and understand what comes with it. It for sure isn't going to be a smooth ride, but That's not to say it will not work. I would advise you to try and find a girl that works in a real job, or a girl that has not been exposed to the tourist entertainment type of work. I'm not by any means saying these girls are bad and should be avoided, but if you are looking for something long term, then you have to think about the future. Could you really be in a relationship with a girl in that line of work? Never mind marrying her. Despite what you may hear, there are decent Thai women out there that are not looking to make fast money from foreigners. Next is relationship commitments. Thai women do not cheat much. If you are used to listening to the bad stories of relationships, then you will probably find this hard to believe. As I said, those types of stories are often about bar girls whose occupation is based around going with other men. But if you meet a real, genuine Thai woman that isn't in that type of life, then they are very trustworthy and loving. If she isn't going to do the dirty on you, you shouldn't do the dirty on her. Chances are, if you cheat, she will stay with you, but Thais never forget, and it will only be a matter of time until she gets her own back. I personally know of 2 relationships where the guys who happen to be Farangs cheated on their Thai wives. The wives stayed with them, but only to bleed them dry financially. I'm not saying I agree with what they did, but just be careful. Just be faithful, guys. It's not that hard. Next is the Thai family. Thais are very family oriented. I am very lucky that my wife's family have accepted me, and they are not gold diggers. As I took my wife away from them, and for some years her mother would be raising the kids, I did offer to support them financially. Having said that, I was just supporting them to live. I would not spoil them or give them extra, nor did my wife ask me to. The children I would treat on their birthday, but that would be it. I paid for school, food, supplies, but that is all they got from me. Thai families that try to get their daughter to rinse their Farang husband puts a strain on the marriage massively, and in the end, ruins it. So if you do find a beautiful Thai woman that you are planning to start a future with, I would make it clear in the early days that you are not an ATM for her family. I have heard so many stories of guys that get in a relationship with a Thai woman and it ends with her family wanting this and that, borrowing this and that. Ultimately, it leads to a failed relationship, because it's like you have to pay for her to be with you, and that is just not a real relationship. Now let's talk about money. If your future wife or Thai girlfriend is pretty much asking for money from the get-go, then it is a red flag. That sort of behaviour does not really stop, even if you say you are putting a stop to it. Again, I got lucky. It's hard for me to actually buy my wife anything. I practically have to force her to let me buy her clothes or something. She is always keeping track of our income, never asking me for extra money or getting me to spoil her. However, she is content and knows that I will give her what she needs. I'm not one of those Farangs that will not give his Thai wife anything, nor do I act like one for acceptance from other Farangs. If my wife asked me for money, she would get it. But if it was daily or just becoming a red flag, then I would have gotten out of there a long time ago. Moving country. So, you have met your future wife, or you have already got married. Now you need to make future plans on where you are both going to live. Her coming to your country is probably going to be the easiest option. Moving to Thailand, especially if you are planning to work and not retire, is not as straightforward as it seems. If you are a younger guy and not old enough for a retirement visa, the best option would be your country. Having said that, a lot of Thai women do not want to move from Thailand. Yes, a lot of them would prefer to stay in Thailand and live comfortably and stay close to family, as many of them already have children. When we decided for my wife to come to my country, I knew someday that we would end up back in Thailand. My wife was kind of the opposite. She did not like the idea of moving back to Thailand. But once we did, I don't think she would ever leave again. Language and communication. Here is another thing that a lot of people overlook. They instantly fall in love with a Thai woman based on her looks, not taking into consideration how hard it will be to communicate with them. Thailand is not like the Philippines as some people think. 99% of Filipinos speak fluent English. They are taught it from a young age. A lot, and I mean a lot, of Thai girls cannot speak English. Even some of the bar girls struggle and will use a translation app. I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't be in a marriage, let alone a relationship, where we are communicating by some app. Communication in a marriage is so important, and if your wife can't speak a fair bit of English, or whatever language you speak, then you are going to have problems, as when issues arise, they will be hard to solve. She does not have to speak perfect English, but at least some to get by. Not only should your Thai wife be able to speak your language, but it wouldn't hurt with you learning some Thai while helping her improve her English every day. My wife always worked with tourists. No, not that type of work. So her English was already great when I met her, and only improved once she moved to my country. Priorities. I know I mentioned earlier that a Thai girl's family always comes first, and that is true in a way. She should put her kids first, and her mother. But after they get what they need, I need my wife's priorities to be based around our future. If you are looking for a Thai wife to grow old with and live happily ever after in your country or wherever, then you need to make sure that is what she wants as well. If you both have different priorities and future goals, the chances are things are going to go wrong sooner or later. My wife, still to this day, says how she wants to grow old with me and wanted a life in the States. The only difference is we went back to Thailand, but our goals are still the same. Next is mood swings. Be prepared for sometimes ridiculous behaviour from them. My wife is petty like a 5-year-old at times and goes off in a huff for hours over something so small or something that I didn't even notice. Like, if you left a sock in the bathroom after a shower, it gets that bad. Thai girls can get very emotional, but I guess I could say that about girls from anywhere in the world. Though I have noticed that Thai women are extremely jealous. I remember when I first got with my wife, if she thought I was flirting or looking a bit too hard at other girls, I would notice her mood change. This is not something I could live with long term, so I put a stop to it fairly soon. Just explaining to her that I would never do anything and there is no need to be jealous. I said if she acts like that often, it's going to push us apart. So, if you are going to get in a relationship with a Thai woman or planning on taking it further with your current girlfriend, make sure you want this 100% and not going to play the field. Jealousy can be a relationship killer. You have been warned. And last but not least, the dowry or sinsad. When you are going to marry your Thai fiancé, most likely there will be a dowry payment involved. This is not a must and may not even be required, but a lot of Thai families will ask for a dowry. This is where you pay the family an agreed amount of money which will show the family you can financially support their daughter. This might seem daunting to a Farang, and yes, there have been lots of scams when it comes to the dowry, so be careful and talk to your wife. The cost of a dowry ranges significantly in price, but if they are asking for a stupid amount of money and your fiancé agrees with that, see it as a red flag. In modern Thailand, and especially in Bangkok, the dowry can be partly returned to the married couple to use, but in many cases, the money is still kept by brides' families. All of these factors should be discussed and agreed upon before marriage. And that's pretty much what I have to say right now. I do have some more tips and advice, and a lot more story with my wife if you would like to hear it, so I might share a part 2 in the future if you guys like that. But as I said, I think I got lucky big time with my wife. Thank you.